Hello, Nancy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Did my first Zoom meeting today.
Oh, yeah? How'd it go?
It was different, but I learned a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy, that has happened more than once.
I bet it has.
Well, the door behind me, you can see, is the door to the bathroom on the main floor of our house. So I get a lot of traffic in and out of the bathroom behind me.
Yeah, he's working on homework and he was just asking for some help. So, grab Dad real quick.
Yeah. For those of you joining us, if you want to share your video, you're welcome to. There's a little button in the bottom left-hand corner. This is also pretty laid back. My trainings are pretty laid back. So if you have a question or something, just unmute yourself and ask. You know, I want to keep this pretty low key. It's not a super formal webinar or anything like that. So make sure that if you have a question, you just unmute yourself and ask it. Hello, Zena.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I think we have about 15 people registered, so
Okay.
that'll be good.
Yeah.
Tim, you know how yesterday you mentioned that Zoom, there was a charge?
Yes.
I heard on today on the news they are waiving that charge.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of companies are doing that.
Exactly.
And so that's great. I like Zoom better than Google Meets. And so, but you know, Google Meet is free for everybody that has Google in their school. Right. So, but I'm glad that they are doing that. All right, it's 1 o'clock. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, those of you that just joined, please, this is informal. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself and ask your question. You know, if you have anything to share about how you're using these products, please let me know. I have about probably a half an hour of stuff that I want to talk about, and then after that, I'll take questions and things like that. So like I said, if you're just joining us, there's a little microphone in the bottom corner of your screen. If you want to share your video, I know some people don't like to share their video, but I like to see your faces so I know who I'm talking to. Anyway, again, this is using Seesaw and ClassDojo. I have kind of mentioned in my earlier trainings that we were, those of you using Google Classroom were kind of wondering how you would use that with younger students, or if you should even use it with younger students. And Google Classroom is a little more difficult to use with younger students. It's meant more for sending out assignments and having discussions with older kids who are familiar with the Chromebook or the computer. And so Seesaw and ClassDojo are just two options that have been around for a while, and right now they are offering promotions also that you can get them for free. They are free to begin with, but they're opening up some of their add-ons and things like that that normally cost money. So I just wanted to go over those two and kind of talk about the differences and why you should use them. I am more familiar with both of these products on the parent side because my kids' school uses them. I've done some demonstrations and things on the teacher side, but anybody who's used them may be actually more familiar with the teacher side. So please chime in and share your experiences with us. So on this first slide here, my email address, please feel free to email me with any comments or questions after this. There is the website that has all of my trainings that you can register for. And it also has a link to sign up for emails so you get reminders about these. In the bottom corner, if you want a link to this presentation, the Google Slides presentation, you can write that down or type it in right now. There's only like 5 slides, so it's not necessary if you don't want to do that. And this right now, I am working through Wendelin Consulting Group. Like I said in my other trainings, that I'm offering these for free to anybody, even if I haven't been out to your school or worked with you for some professional development. It's my goal just to help as many people as I can. So please spread the word to your colleagues, and I hope that I can be of some help during these times, the new normal, as everybody's saying. Although I'm not sure. I hope that it's a new, better normal after all of this. All right, so moving on here. Just an inspirational quote. Any of you familiar with George Couros? Change is an opportunity to do something amazing. I just wanted to, this change is thrust upon us. So how we handle it, what we do with it, how we connect with our kids, hopefully that will make things even better after all of this. So, just make sure that you keep that in mind, that we're all learning and growing, and take the opportunity to move what we learn into the, when we go back to school, into the schools that we're working with. All right, so there's the link again if you need it. So just some questions that I want you to ask yourself as we go through these, this kind of tutorial. Are you or your students' parents familiar with either of these products? Because if you already have used them, even if it was limited in your use in the classroom, then my suggestion would be to just stick with that, because any familiarity that the students might have will make it that much easier when they go to use these things at home. So if you've never used one before, after today, hopefully you'll have a better idea of which one that might suit your needs better. But if you've already used one in the classroom, maybe you'll learn something today that you didn't know, and then to just kind of continue to use that. I will say that one of my daughter's teacher uses both of them, and then it gets a little confusing because then you're looking for things you as a parent, you're thinking, okay, I know I saw that somewhere. Where did I see it? Did I see it in Seesaw? Did I see it in ClassDojo? Did I see it in their email? So again, if you are looking at using one of these with some of your students, after today, pick one and then kind of stick with that after this. One other thing I want to say is that you do still need another mode of communication, especially with the parents. So this presentation is kind of focused for those younger kids. You can use either of these products at any age, but you need to be communicating with the parents through email or through your Skyward or RenWeb or whatever, that there are assignments and things on these platforms, just so that the parents know where to help assist the students in getting on these things. All right, how do you communicate with your students right now, with your parents? Email, RenWeb, SIS, some other SIS program. What are your goals for your students? Are you just trying to communicate with them and check in on them, or are you actually wanting to send out some sort of assignment for them to complete? And then what kind of devices do your students have, or do you have, if you know? Again, both of these, I'll go over more detail, but both of these are can be used on the Chromebook, on the computer, or on the iPad, or Android tablet or phone. They actually work better, in my opinion, on some sort of tablet or phone device, because Seesaw has some activities and things that they can complete, and it's easier if they can drag with their finger instead of trying to use the mouse, and those kinds of things. So just kind of be thinking about, what are you expecting your parents to get on this? What kind of device are you expecting them to use? Okay, so here's the agenda, quick agenda for today. What is Seesaw? What is ClassDojo? Any similarities and differences? And then there's some resources for using both. And again, please, if you have used these before, either one of them, jump in, share your experiences, or if I'm telling you something wrong, please let me know. I don't want to give out wrong information. All right. Let me go back. I'm gonna switch screens now and start showing you. I'm gonna start with Seesaw. I gotta move my toolbar here. Okay, so the thing to remember with both of these is that I'm going to show you several different views. You have at least 3 different ways to log in. You log in as a teacher. That's what you guys probably would do. But then the students can log in, and then their parents can also log in. And so it gets a little confusing, especially if you have multiple children and then multiple teachers are using it. You have to make sure that you're in the right view, and they all look similar. So I'm going to start in the teacher view. And I do want to go back. I'm going to actually log out and log in as if you were just kind of signing in for the first time. So when you go to app.seesaw.me, then you are going to log in as a teacher. Your students and family members, parents, would click one of these buttons. I'll go over that in a minute. So when you sign in, if you are a Google school and you have a Google email address, which I think most of you guys do, it's just way easier to sign in with Google. It links to your different accounts and things like that. So don't create a new password or username. Just go ahead and click sign in with Google. And then hopefully, okay, so I'm in the teacher view now. And so one of the things that's different about Seesaw is that it has a lot of already pre-made activities that you can download and use. So if you're kind of looking for some academic things to easily push out to your students, you can look through their catalog of already pre-made activities. And I'll go over that in a second. But then the other thing is that you can post videos and have the students post videos of different things that they're doing. So if you're maybe a quick example of build a fort with your siblings and take a picture of it or take a video of it, then they can insert that video and respond to you that way. So this program, this is mainly just a way to push out some sort of activities to the students and then get feedback from them. But over here, so I'll show you how to add activities in a minute. Over here though, this kind of toolbar right here is really where the different things are at. So each student has a journal, and that journal is where they will add their information or complete their activities that you can see. They can write in it and send you items and things like that. Here is the activities button. This is where you send out assignments to them. So this is the one, if you want to push something out to them for them to complete, this is where you're going to do that. And you can schedule them also. And here's the library down here of things to do. I'll show you again in a minute. This is your inbox where you can communicate with family members. you can communicate with the students. There's a button down here, or with the parents. Seesaw does not allow students to communicate with each other, like they can't chat with each other, and they can't see what the other students are doing, and families will only see their child's work. And then the family, so the parent to teacher communication is also not visible to the students.
The teacher has to go in and click a button to do that. I
Right.
just signed up today and did like a demo class, and I noticed that I had to disable them from seeing the other students' work.
Oh, so the students had the students had to, you had to do that for the students, or the families have to do that so they can't?
No, I did as the teacher.
Oh, okay, I see. And also, you can, when you create your account, you can either import the students or give them a code, and I'll kind of go over all of that in a second too. And then you can invite the families. So if you have the students in, then you can invite the family members here, and then they can connect. Or you can just send out a link for them to join. And then this last thing is using skills, and this is kind of where you can track your progress of your students. I'm not necessarily sure you would probably want to use that right now, but if you were using this in the classroom and you had different standards and different things you were meeting, then you could do that. I think that's one of the add-ons. Yeah, it is one of the premium features. So, you know, that might be something to put off until another time if you are looking at using that. So real quick, let's go back to how to get the students signed up. This is the tricky part. You know, every student has a different device at home, probably, unless you sent home Chromebooks or something like that. And then you're going to have to deal with the parents creating their account and the students creating their account, and it does get really confusing between that. So let's start with the little wrench here. And this is where you can add students. You can just type them in, or paste a list of names. But I would not do that right now, because that's if you're using them in the classroom. That's an easy way to do it if you're using it in the classroom. What I really would do is send home a class code and make sure it's for a shared device, because you don't know if they are going to be using it with a sibling or not. Okay. And that then, so you're going to have to still email your parents and say, here is the learning code for your students. And there's two ways to do it. If you have access, this is going to be hard remotely. You can print the codes on a nice formatted PDF, but then you still have to get that to your parents. So this is what the code looks like. It has, these are directions for you, and then this is what each individual student would get, a sheet like this, and with a QR code. So again, this is going to be difficult remotely. Each kid does have a different code, so you would have to send one home for Henry and then send one home for Bobby. So what I would suggest is looking at how they worded the directions here, and then if you go back to here, you can download the codes, and it goes into a Excel or a Google spreadsheet, and then just copy and paste those codes into an email with the directions. So this is what the Excel spreadsheet looks like. So there's the code that they would need, and this is the website, of course, that they would need, and then email that to the parents so that they can sign in their student. Okay, and then you would also then want to give the family access. So this is how you would, so this top one up here was for students. So there's the student code. And then down here is how to invite families. And you can print the invites or share an invite link also. And that will give them the opportunity to sign in as a parent. Okay. So any questions about signing up? Like I said, you really kind of need to try it ahead of time, just so you can see what the parents might, what the issues that the parents might have. They can, like I said, if they're on a phone, an iPhone, they need to download an app. But when they go to that link on their phone, then it'll redirect them to download the app, and then they can put the code into the app. Let's just talk real quick about the activities. So this is where you can assign activities. I'm waiting for it to load here. All right, so this is what the teacher page looks like when you assign an activity. And these are directions that will show up that you can change, and you can record your instructions, your voice with the instructions. But this is what the students will need to do to complete this activity. And then you can see who's responded and who has not responded to your activity. All right, so you can have a list of activities here that are assigned, and then a list of activities that are scheduled. If you want something that's already created, there's an activity library that you can do, and sort by grade level, by subject, by all kinds of different things to use pre-made activities, or you can create your own. So there's just a library, and I'm not going to go into these, but there's just a whole bunch of different kinds of activities that you can use. If you want to just kind of create a generic or an at-home activity, have a dance party with your siblings, build a fort, whatever, you can just click add here, and then assign activity, and it'll ask you what the directions are for it and what you expect the student response to be, whether it's a picture or a video, or if maybe you send home if they have a worksheet that you send home earlier that they need to do, then you can create the activity here and then put in the directions on what you expect them to do. Does that make sense? I wanted to go one more time to I think it's the inbox, where you can post notes or okay, so messages is private between the students and the families, but you can post family announcements also. And that would be where you might send out just a generic general instruction to the families, just like if you were doing some sort of morning announcements or what's expected for the day or those kinds of things. All right, and my internet is super slow. Every webinar I've been on, everybody says that. So, so that's the teacher view. I'm going to just quickly go over what it's going to look like on the parent and the student view, because that's, again, it's hard to see that as a teacher, and if you are trying to field questions from parents, that gets a little tricky. So when you log in as a student, then let me see, where is it? Add chat. So I'm logged in as the parent right now, and I'm trying. Okay, there we go. All right, and Neela's my daughter. So I'm logged in as a parent. I can see Neela's work and things that she's done. And like I said, they've actually used it during the school year. So these are the most recent posts that she's done. This is her journal. My other daughter used it also, but they haven't done anything with it. And so these are things that my daughter has posted or that she's completed with instructions from the teachers. So you can go all the way back. One of the things that I thought was a really creative way of doing it, of using Seesaw, is to post like a fluency or a reading passage where the students read and then they record themselves doing that. So that's what this is. I'm not even going to try to play it. It'll probably freeze up. But you can see some of the activities that she's done. This is all freehand drawing on the iPad that they do. And then she was at school and she checked out a book from the library that had a chocolate recipe, and she was telling me about it. And I said, oh, why don't you take a picture of it and put it in Seesaw so we can do it at home? And so that's what that was. So, you know, there's lots of different ways to use this. These activities, like I said, if you download some of the activities that are pre-made, a lot of them have some dragging features. So doing it on a device is actually easier. It works pretty well on a phone too. So just keep that in mind, that using a mouse with young kids is sometimes difficult. All right, so that's me. That's my view as a parent. And then, of course, I can like the different activities. I can comment to my daughter on her activity, you know, similar to Facebook, those kinds of things. But and I was hoping to show you, but I must not be logged in. I'll show you on my iPad in a minute what let me see if I can pull it up, what the activity looks like on my daughter's view, the student's view. Seesaw. Okay, so all right, can you guys see my screen, my iPad screen? All right, so this is the iPad, and so this is Neela's view of what she can do on her iPad. So over here, she has same thing. She has a journal, different activities. This is one that her teacher sent home a couple days ago, recently, and it's something that she needs to complete. So she's going to click. I'm not actually going to do it for her, but she's going to click the green and add her response. She's going to do the activity and add her response to that. She can communicate with her teacher, and there's class announcements that come up on this page. She can also just do a free drawing, free video. So if the teacher says, okay, post a video or a photo of you, baking with your mom, then she could do it through here. So kind of think of this as, if you're familiar with Google Classroom for younger kids, it's a little more friendly for the younger students. It has a little more parent communication options, and you can see what your students are doing. All right. There's probably a lot of questions on how to actually do a lot of this stuff, and I'm going to take those at the end, but I do want to just jump into ClassDojo quickly. So while I'm on my iPad here, I'll just show you again. ClassDojo is the difference between ClassDojo and Seesaw is that ClassDojo started out actually as a behavior management program. So it has like ways that the teacher and even the parents can assign whether a student was on task or not on task. And so then you get points if you do something that you're supposed to be doing, and you get points deducted if you do something that you're not supposed to be doing. But since that, they've actually added a portfolio feature and a lot more communication tools in it. So it's similar to Seesaw in the fact that you can post pictures and videos, and your teacher can communicate with you and your parents, but it doesn't have the built-in activities that Seesaw does. Okay, so you can't really have the kids complete an activity within this app. They might take a picture of something that they've done, but they their activities are not there. Okay, so so who's logging in? I'm logging in as my daughter. And you can see there's point values. She got 0 points today because obviously she's not in school. On the teacher end of things, what ClassDojo does is you pull it up on your iPad or your computer, and when you're walking around the classroom giving your instruction, you can say, everybody is on task right now, or Johnny's not on task right now, and you just kind of click it, and it collects points throughout the day, and then that communication is sent home to the parents, so the parents can see how the student behaves in class. But again, I don't think you're going to be using that necessarily because we're not in school. But this 3 activities check mark right here is the portfolio function. And so my daughter's teacher will assign things through ClassDojo, and then it says, after watching the instructional video, complete the exit ticket, and then she has to take a picture of whatever the activity was that she did. So you can see she has 3 activities that she has to do in the next couple days here. These are, the next one down is completed things that she's done. So she did her math worksheet, and then she took a picture of it and sent it in. Again, this was the second page. And then she had to draw a story map for one of the stories she was reading. So there's a camera function built into ClassDojo. So you just click on the activity and then use the camera function to do that. And then her teacher sends home a video of her reading a book to the class as a way of communicating with the students. So that's the student view on ClassDojo. I'm going to switch back over to, well, what I wanted to say is if you have multiple students and parents, and even multiple parents, if you have both you and your spouse or have an account, then all of the accounts show up here. So it gets really confusing because my account looks very similar to her account. And sometimes it's hard to figure out where you are. So if you get lost and you don't know whose account you're in, so this is a way for me to check in on my kids at a glance. So this is the parent view now, and I can check in and see how many points she got. I can give her points from home so that information goes back to her teacher. So she was listening, so I'm gonna give her a point. Oh, that was really loud. And then she would get points at school also. But if you get lost and you can't figure out where you are, make sure that you are in the right account on this page. All right, so, and this is my older daughter here. And they also use ClassDojo, and she sends out links and different things and pictures for her class also. And you get the account the same way. I'm gonna see if I can log in. Let me switch my screen. Share. If any of you have ever had a 4th grader and the recorders, I'm listening to them practice their recorders over a Zoom call, which is quite hilarious. Okay, so this is how the teacher would send home a sheet with the ClassDojo code or the QR code, and this is how the students would sign in. They have to scan the code if the device doesn't remember where they are. So the parents or the teachers would have to send that code out. They can also send out a code, a text code, to do that also. I don't know if I have a teacher account for ClassDojo. So I'm not sure if I can show you a lot of that. Let me just see. Okay, I think I'm logged in as a parent. Yeah, I'm logged in as a parent. So, so anyway, I'm assuming that it's very similar to Seesaw, where you log in as a teacher, and then you have in your settings somewhere some codes that you send out to the parents for them to log in to their students. So again, I just wanted to share a quick overview of those two products and why you might choose one over the other. Just in a recap, Seesaw has built-in activities and is really good for sending home some content that you want the students to do. They can complete that within the Seesaw app, and then it notifies the teacher. ClassDojo originally was meant more for classroom management and behavior, but they have that portfolio function and communication tools with the parents too. So you can send videos and pictures back and forth. So there is another slide that I'm going to share, and it's just, this is, if you just Google these, you can find them. But both Seesaw and ClassDojo have remote learning pages that they've put together on how you can use their products to facilitate that remote learning. So I would encourage you to check those out. It's full of activities and ideas. And then, of course, if you get stuck with a technical issue, you can use their website to find out more about that. And I've actually attended a couple of their webinars. They have free webinars that kind of go over their products, and they're pretty good and give you lots of ideas. So just something to check out. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that I can answer? Is this something that you guys can see yourself using? I mean, I don't know how many of you have little kids. Mary said yes.
Tim, I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So with the therapy department, you know,
Right.
we have parents or teachers that are using ClassDojo and or Seesaw. We're learning that now as we're contacting the teachers to see what they're learning. If we're not, you know, we work at Tazewell Mason, we don't work like in Washington School District.
Right.
Are they able to share, like let us be an administrator part of that, do you know?
Well, let me see from Seesaw, because I can tell you I can see it as a teacher view. It looks like, I'm just wondering if you can have two teachers or multiple teachers in the same class.
Or would you recommend like the therapist like making their own ClassDojo or their own Seesaw account with those kids?
You know what,
But then the parents would have two different codes. I mean, I don't know.
It's going to get confusing, but I mean, and that wouldn't be unusual, because within a school, you can have, if your kid was in 5th grade, let's say, and they had 4 different teachers that they went to, then each teacher would send them a different code. So it wouldn't be unusual, and I think parents would be kind of expecting that. I think how I would do it is you personally setting up a Seesaw for all of your kids that you have on therapy.
Okay.
And then the parents might have, if their kids are using it with their teacher, they might have 2 codes, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
Tim,
you.
Yeah.
I know it's Kelly.
Okay.
I know my kid's school uses ClassDojo, and just recently, I didn't have to add a new code or anything, but like on Sadie, the principal got added to her class. And
On
then for
ClassDojo?
Evan, he's in pre-K, the aide just got added on it as well.
Okay,
so they're doing that, so I don't know if you know, you can contact the teacher and get added somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What's that manage teacher button there?
I'm trying to, my computer's frozen, so I don't know.
Okay.
I was manage teachers. I'm trying to find out what it does, but I don't know. But that's something I'm going to write that question down, and I have all of your email addresses. I'll follow up and see if I can answer that.
Thank you.
For both of these, it sounds like ClassDojo you can.
Yeah,
For Seesaw.
You can. Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
This screen that you have right now under class settings, if you scroll down on that a little bit, that's where you can, if I know your screen's frozen, but that's where you need to go in and either allow students to view other students' work or turn that option off. That's
Okay.
something I just discovered today.
Okay.
So it's under their class settings. So, I mean, that's just a personal choice, I guess, for each teacher to decide.
Right. And you know, if you've got slightly older kids, you know, third, fourth, or fifth, maybe you want them to have some of that communication within themselves.
Yeah.
But the kindergarten, first grade, maybe not so much. So yeah, I'm frozen. I can't do anything else. So I'm just going to talk to you guys. I was just going to ask, what are the ways that you guys are communicating with your parents right now? Are you guys using just email or your SIS program?
I'm
I use
doing
Class-
mostly email.
Okay.
I use email, Google Classroom.
Okay. Because I was going to say, just make sure that, you know, you're consistent with how you're communicating with your parents. As a parent, I know that we've got 4 kids at home right now, and they're all communicating differently. And so it's really hard with, especially trying to keep track of the younger ones, high school kids, whatever, they do their own thing. But the younger ones, it's hard to remember, okay, did I get that email, or is it in ClassDojo? So, you know, try to give some consistency and remember that parents are dealing with multiple apps and things.
I use ClassDojo through instant messaging with my parents, and then I also use it to post activities. So I want to make it so it's easy. They can just go right there and see it, and their kids can log in and see it too, all the activities. So they don't necessarily have to have their mom's phone or whatever to see it. If they have their own device, they can go in and see all their activities. Makes it more engaging that way.
Yeah.
I use ClassDojo as well. So it seems like I'm forever trying to please somebody. All the parents want something different. So I try to accommodate when I can, but they're all signed into ClassDojo, but some of them prefer Google Classroom. Some of them prefer emails. It just kind of depends on if they're at home or at work, I think.
Yeah.
That's what the distinction is.
Yeah. I just know that Google Classroom and some of the other tools that are out there for younger kids is difficult for them to do things more independently. And so these 2 apps seem to be fairly independent, especially if the kids have used it in school before and are familiar with how to answer things. Because my daughter can get on and do her stuff without us having to help too much.
Has anybody used Seesaw before for little, like kindergarten? Anybody on here?
Again, my kids have used it since kindergarten. The teachers at their school have used it. So, yeah. But most of the activities that they did were in school too. So this remote learning is a little bit more difficult, I think.
We just checked in with case managers over at Washington school districts, and it looks like most of them are using Google Classroom or ClassDojo. I see one teacher just set up a Seesaw account. I kind of like the Seesaw account, but I like the Seesaw little.
Yeah, the biggest difference again is that it has those built-in activities. So especially like if you send home packets and they've burned through all those pages that you've given them to do already, or will within a week, it's a way to send home some different activities that they could
Well, and also with the ClassDojo, just with your example of Nelia, your daughter, like you had printed copies and then you had to take pictures. Seesaw has the online
Correct.
with the dragging and such, so they have more online activities that look like, right?
Yes, correct.
Because not all families are going to have access to a printer. They don't want to print all that.
Correct. And those were the packets that they sent home.
Right. Okay.
Right. And so I think, eventually we're going to run out of those.
Right.
So you're right. And that's something to think about too, is if you're expecting the kids to print, they have to have access to a printer and they have to have ink and paper and all those things.
And those things never work when you want
No, of course not.
Just like your computer, right?
Right.
Or the copy machine.
Right,
Yes,
right.
exactly. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, or if you can't think of any now, please feel free to email me. Keep in touch. Again, I'm doing this because I want to make sure that you guys are all supported and help out in any way that I can. I've had lots of Zoom calls with people that just an individual person where we're trying to solve a particular issue that they're having. So I'm more than happy to do that, answer things over email. So just let me know if I can help in any way.
Can I ask you a question about Zoom?
You can.
Or is this not the place?
No, go ahead.
Well, so some people are putting really fun virtual backgrounds on their.
Oh, yeah.
So I tried doing that, but it says you have to log into your desktop, and I'm on 2 laptops. So.
No, you can do it. Did you go? Okay, so where's my first slide here?
Which I know that's not really important, but
no, that's okay.
Look at all my background here. I want to be at the beach. Some of my coworkers are at the beach, and I want to go there.
I had to laugh because we did a Zoom call with my brothers and sisters and then all the cousins, and we were playing this game, Quiplash or whatever. But anyway, my high school son put every time he came on, he had a different background behind him. He had like Barack Obama, and then he had like, so anyway, it's this little button, this little arrow right here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. And if you click that, it says change background image. Again, you probably have to do it on your computer, but you said you're on a laptop.
Oh, so choose virtual background?
Correct. And then it asks you what picture you want to use. And then
it says none on mine.
Can you browse for pictures somehow? I can't pull it up right now, but the other thing is you need to be kind of in a room with a solid. It works better with a solid background.
Right.
I have two different. Yeah.
I can download stuff. It says so. Okay.
One more quick funny story. I was watching this it was a funny video of all the people having to do Zooms and stuff. It was on YouTube or whatever. But this one guy took a picture of himself sitting in a Zoom meeting, and then he used his picture of himself as his background. So then it looked like he was attending the meeting, but he really was off drinking coffee or doing whatever. So.
Uh-oh, don't tell Zena you shared that with us. I think she's on here somewhere. But.
Is she on? So yeah, if you don't move in a while, then we'll know.
All right, thank you.
All right. Again, please let me know if I can do anything. Visit that website right here to get reminders of the different things I'm doing. And if you have any ideas for next week, I want to make sure I'm trying to hit some important topics of things that people are struggling with. So just email me and let me know, hey, I want to do a call on whatever. Tomorrow is special education. And so anybody that has students in special education or wants to figure out how to help them at home, let me know. But again, I'm leaving it open, but I'm having a hard time planning for that because special education is really wide. Are we talking students with severe disabilities or students with learning disabilities? So let me know if you're interested in that one. Just shoot me an email and I'll try to gear what I'm talking about to those particular topics. So, anyway, thank you. I appreciate all of the work that you guys are doing. You guys are awesome. Keep it up, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Later.